You can call me crazy. You can call me crazy all you want. I don't really care. You can call me crazy all you want. Here's the night side of things. And I said I was going to be starting off at a quarter past. And guess what time it is? It is now a quarter past here on Thursday night. Some people would dare to say that it's Friday Eve, like tomorrow's some kind of holiday or something. Anyway, welcome to the night side of I don't even know what to call this, but welcome to the night side anyway. It's I guess a debut. I guess we can say it's a debut. And if I may not appear to be so forward, I am going to leave that there. And I do have a Cash App. I might change the name eventually. Right now, this seems to work. Truth be told, I almost forgot about doing this. I almost forgot about doing this, but let me pause for just 1 second. As I said, I'm kind of getting not really a late start. Not that I was necessarily delayed, but man, I almost fell asleep. I did. I admit, I almost fell asleep. However, I ran across something. I'm running across a lot of things all the time because I've had nothing much more than a lot of information come across my lap here, and I just well, we know that October is Cancer Awareness Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But did you also know that October, the month of October, also is Domestic Violence Awareness Month? Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So, like the caption reads here, someone you care about is likely experiencing domestic violence, whether you see it or not. So, I'm I'm kind of thrown off right now a little bit, but anyway, I'm actually a collateral. I won't. I don't really want to say that I'm a victim, but I actually experienced that in my childhood, being a firsthand collateral observer of, I say, instances of domestic violence, and that is pretty much part of my story, and that pretty much comprises who I am, having seen such things happen in the household rather early in life that I still remember rather vividly. So I can tell you how much this affects people. This affects the mindset of those who've experienced it, whether directly or indirectly. And I've been into instances in a professional standpoint, away from the personal, but I've been to situations having to have taken crime reports, instant reports regarding instances of domestic violence. So I'll tell you that it's something that you know it's really bothersome. Even to this day, I still think about it, not only from the personal standpoint, but from um, the professional standpoint, and actually observing, and having to take down accounts and listen to the accounts of people that have been victims, and then hearing the other side, hearing the manipulation and everything that that comes with it, with this dysfunction. So, you know, go ahead and reach out and stuff. And the reason why I actually bring this up as a point is because, yeah, I just ran across this earlier. And also, too, I just wanted to be a reminder because this is something that does still happen in a lot of households all throughout the country. A lot of people don't know that, or they sweep it under the rug, or it's been a part of generational damage, multi generational damage, even in my own family tree, breaks apart families. It disrupts things. So you see this one here. So yes, that's what the purple ribbon evidently represents. I also found out that a purple ribbon represents pancreatic cancer, but for the month of October, it's just an observation to possibly make. Domestic violence awareness month. So, as far as supporting any efforts towards that, I don't. Well, this one down here on the screen, National Network to End Domestic Violence, yes, and unfortunately, quite a few instances have probably. I haven't seen any statistics as of late, but it probably wouldn't be too much of a stretch at all to see, an uptick in it right now, because there's a lot of stressors going on in everyone's you know home situation, domestic and home situation. So lots of problems have cropped up ever since the beginning of this pandemic. I'm sure loss of work, things like that going on, income situations have changed, and people are having a hard time right now, even though it seems like you wouldn't know it from people being out and about as they are, but people are going through a lot. So just have to have a realistic outlook on things, and if you are in need of any type of help, go ahead and reach out. There's resources out there to aid and assist you. As a matter of fact, when I was reviewing one of the websites earlier to get some statistics, some basic data and information, there was a button on the top of the web page that offered a safe exit, just in case the aggressor was looking over your shoulder as you're trying to get information. So there are ways to get information that can be safe and secure. So just something to bear in mind. Something to bear in mind, something to think about, something to consider. Tonight, and let me throw this disclaimer up, as I often do, because it's good housekeeping, I think. It's good housekeeping to do that. Just kind of an outline of actually what I want to cover is, there was breaking news earlier about a shooter at a school in southeast Arlington, Texas, which is not very far from me. A shooting occurred yesterday. It was first reported as an active shooter, but it turned out to be just an isolated incident involving a fist fight, or a fight that got out of hand, of course, because a gun was brought to the picture. And as it turns out, what happened? The fight resulted in a shooting. And reports have emerged that, apparently the suspect in this case, 18-year-old Mansfield Timberview High School. They're saying Mansfield because it's actually on in the border. It's between Arlington and Mansfield, and then it says here on another in the same story, Timberview High School in Arlington. So I can see how that could confuse people. But it's been said that according to a lengthy Facebook post by, I guess, the family of Timothy Simpkins, that he was beaten, taunted, and harassed on a daily basis. So let me think. This is going to be the victim or the bully excuse. This is the test that they're going to put up in open court, that he was being actively bullied on a consistent basis. Because I'll tell you, there was apparently a size disparity between the two parties involved. However, um, the other party involved, that being the shooting victim, the receiver of said projectile bullets, was 15 years old. Well, I mean, he survived, by the way, but that victim was 15 years old. And apparently, the staff members that had tried to intervene, well, a 25-year-old teacher who helped break up the fight was shot, apparently. Let me just go ahead and read it and start from the top here, okay? Family says Arlington School District suspect was quote unquote terrified, quote unquote beaten on a daily basis. And this is from today at about 4:30 in the afternoon. The family of a Mansfield Timberview High School student who's charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in a Wednesday shooting at the school wrote a lengthy Facebook post Thursday that Timothy Simpkins was beaten, taunted, and harassed on a daily basis. Simpkins, 18, is accused of injuring four people. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just real quick. Trying to do something. There we go. Yeah. Let me see here. Lost my places. I was doing something else. He's accused of injuring four people in the shooting at Timberview High School in Arlington. Arlington, Mansfield, pretty much the same thing, right? They border each other. A 15-year-old student who started the fight with Simpkins and a 25-year-old teacher who helped break up the fight were shot when Simpkins pulled a handgun from his backpack and opened fire. Police wrote in a arrest warrant affidavit. Another student was grazed by a bullet, and the teacher had minor injuries from a fall. And I believe that it was reported that that teacher that fell is expecting. Family declined to comment to reporters outside the jail, but online, a family spokesperson attributed a statement on behalf of Simpkins' mother and grandmother. So watch this very closely. Let me because I'm going to actually try to analyze this as we go. Because again, I'm going to say this is, we're allowed to even have our say here, speaking openly here on the internet, right? So, you know, go ahead and do your own research if you would like on anything that I might bring up on this, if it's even interesting to you. I'm just going to, offer my point of view, right? So you have someone that, well, decided to use a handgun during a fist fight, and because they thought they were being bullied, they felt they were being bullied. So they chose to mediate this by using firearm. And mom and grandmother are taking up for him. My question is, where is the male man of the house to hold this 18-year-old responsible for his actions and accountable? I looked up this young man's. I happened to actually run across his sports profile. Apparently, well, from the looks of it, to me, looks like he didn't really make it very far on the football team. Given, the directory that I looked up, I think it was on either Max Prep or Huddle. The picture was gone. Facial photo was gone. It identified him. It matched up with the school and matched up with his age, but it showed that he was about all of 5'7" and under what 160, 150 pounds. So what's being presented is a bullying case. And what we do know about, how things are nowadays is that we resort to key words, different terms. And they're starting off with this as making it to be an excuse. Fact is, well, he has to be, held accountable for the firearm being on the campus. First of all, he should have been held accountable for the fight. Let me see if I could get the image because I thought I had it earlier of the image of either the still photo or brief video of the fisticuffs. Read on first. On the Facebook post attested to Simpkins' character, saying that their son was painted as a menace to our society, and nothing could be further from the truth. This is according to an article in Yahoo News that I've started with. I haven't finished reading it yet. I'm just getting started. Right. So there's another link to open up, show the release that he's released on bail. But he was released on bail from Tarrant County Jail earlier today, right? And he has never been known to bother anyone and would do anything to help someone in need, the post says. Beginning of this school year, Timothy has been bullied at school. He has been beaten, taunted, and harassed on a daily basis, the post read. Recently, he was ambushed by a group of young males outside the school, stripped of his clothing in front of a crowd of onlookers, and robbed of his money and possessions. I wonder if that was reported. He should have reported that. He has been humiliated and stripped of his dignity on more than one occasion, which led to him being fearful to go to school or even leave our home without an adult. Facebook post said the issues were brought to school officials' attention. No actions were taken. Notification was made to the school. Wonder if there's a police report filed for this robbery. And you can make a weak battery out of that case. Battery is typically a misdemeanor. The press conference Monday, Manfield School District Associate Superintendent of Communications Donald Williams said, "We don't know if (parentheses) bullying was tied to the shooting in parentheses. But what I will say is we take the safety and security of our students and our faculty and staff seriously." Blanket statement. I'm just saying. The entire situation will be assessed and evaluated. And for us as a district, we're always looking at ways in which we can improve and get better. We have law enforcement officers on every single one of our campuses. I think that's important for our community to know. And that's been something that's been a tremendous benefit for us as a school district. Going to continue to investigate this particular situation, and the students that are involved will be dealt with in accordance to our students' code of conduct. And that's the way that whole process is handled, Williams added. Family's post said Simpkins became depressed on some days, did not even want to get out of bed. I'm certain that he was fearful for his safety. Okay, that's a catchphrase that the police use. I'm certain that he was fearful for his safety and felt that he had no support from those in authority whose responsibility is to protect him. Well, yeah. This is going to be a commentary. I'm letting you know that now. So, if there's, I will say I'm reading from Yahoo News, and, I'll be adding as I go along. I perhaps should maybe share the screen just to let you know the source of my information here. It's only fair, right? Let me see here. See, y'all sleep. It's late tonight, huh? It's late for people. That's cool. Y'all can catch this on the playback. It's gonna be good stuff. It's gonna be good stuff. Let me see here. This is the second time today I was on here doing my stream thing. I'm gonna be doing more of this as we go along, and just let y'all know my point of view on things and my perspective, because it just so happens that actually have worked for a public school before a lot of years ago, but I once worked at a public school. As a matter of fact, we had a number of instances. Uh, actually was shot at before. Yeah, actually was shot at before. Thanks to the area gang that was immediately adjacent and around on the school campus. In the area, and a number of them were either kicked out if they didn't go to the school. So yeah, they're going to actively investigate it, as it says. We're going to continue to investigate this particular situation, um, and that's what they really have to do, and that's what they have to say, because there's liability associated with this. Okay, so he was feeling depressed, and some days did not even want to get out of bed. Fearful for his safety. That's a catchphrase. He felt that he had no support from those in authority whose responsibility is to protect him. Well, you actually have a responsibility to protect yourself first. And a way to do that is to, um, you know, recognize the problem and report the problem that you're having. So my question is, was this problem actually documented? Did he report the entire scope of the problem? What was involved? What was associated? And given this popular culture over the past several years, I don't find it likely. I don't find it likely that there's full report made of this prior to this coming to a head as it has. Okay. So it also says the family also added that Simpkins' father was brutally beaten to death, and that it definitely heightened Timothy's fear for his life. Okay, so that's another element. Another element, residual collateral uh, damage and victimhood, possibly. I want to get to the part where he's packing heat. Okay. And there's another article I'm going to actually go through here that actually has some pictures posted showing him armed with the firearm, or actually with the presence of the firearm in his vehicle, in position to use it. Many of you have seen the video of the brutal beating received. He never even returned the blow. He simply balled up and covered his head. The family, that's what the family statement said, referencing the video of the fight that preceded the shooting. Not to mention that the young men responsible for beating and harassing him recently made threats to kill him. So you see, my son was terrified and believed he would be murdered just like his father. Facebook status described the 18-year-old as, quote unquote, kind and thoughtful child who earned straight A's before transferring to Timberview. So he transferred there. Simpkins attended a private school and wanted to become an engineer, according to the social media post. Please know that I am not suggesting that taking a gun to school was the right choice to make. I am saying that there is so much more to the story, and all of the details should be known so that my son can be properly defended, the post said. Simpkins' attorney, Kim Tenney Cole, spoke briefly after he left the jail Thursday. He spoke out against what she called a quote unquote false narrative that described Wednesday's shooting as a mass shooting. Well, you don't know when these things come out. When you have the presence of a firearm on campus, and you hear rounds, you hear the report of rounds being discharged. It's reasonable to think. It's a reasonable assumption that there's an active shooting on campus, that there possibly might be a mass shooting. And in this case, there were mass casualties. If there's more than one, in this case, I believe up to 4 people were, affected by this. It can be considered a mass shooting. Obviously, what happened Wednesday was very tragic. She said, I believe it being portrayed as the standard issue in school shootings is simply a media issue and not a legal issue. So the legal issue, which will be, you know, of course, evaluated, assessed, is the fact that he brought um, a gun to a school campus. Can't do that. He should not, I'm not drawing conclusions. And first of all, well, this is a trial of public opinion right here because all this stuff is public. It's in the open. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it because I don't know. I just don't find that so far. I don't find this matching up really. But reading on, Cole said that said the family did not have any additional statement Thursday afternoon. And record to a Facebook post below. See here, words of Tim's mother and grandmother. Okay, now you notice that there's no Now that I read the story about his dad being slain, um, presence of any kind of male. And when I saw a Twitter post about it that made reference to him resembling a baby, because of his face. I don't know if you've seen the photos. I'll post those up momentarily. If the photo you see on your screen right now were the first image you saw of my son, what type of child would you say he was? Would you be able to believe he was polite, a polite and kind young man who comes from a two-parent home? Believe that he was a brilliant young man who was a straight A student, who until just recently attended private school, and who has an impressive GPA? Would you believe that he has dreams of attending college and becoming an engineer? The engineer, but I'm an engineer. Just kind of skimmed over it. Irony is that all of these things are true of Timothy Simpkins, but it only took the media one day and one questionable photograph to convince the country that my son was a menace to our society, and nothing could be further from the truth. Timothy has always been a kind and thoughtful child who loves to learn. Because he spends so much time focusing on his studies, most of his relatives call him a quote unquote little nerd of the family. He has never been known to bother anyone. He has never been known to bother anyone, and would do anything to help someone in need. Beginning of the school year, Timothy has been bullied at school. He has been beaten, taunted, harassed on a daily basis. And I read about it earlier. I don't need to repeat it. Goes into the robbery and being stripped down of his clothing. All these occurrences were brought to the attention of the Arlington school system, and absolutely nothing was done to protect my son. And he became depressed. I already covered that part. I don't mean to. I really don't mean to sound insensitive, but the thing that really stands out for me, well, is one. Obviously, this is a big issue where he felt that he needed to bring a gun onto a school campus and shoot somebody with it. So, what is this school that he's in? This school with these kids that have bullied him. What is this school location where he feels that he's going to get killed? That's what I'm questioning. I am today. I'm appealing to you as a mother who knows her son, not the picture that the media has painted of him, but the child and his grandparents raised him to be after his father's death. Many of you have seen the video of the brutal beating Timothy received. He never even returned the blow. He simply balled up and covered his head. Well, that's an instinctive thing to do. I mean, well, I saw the image I saw. He was still standing up even though he's balled up. But I mean, if anything, I'm gonna be straight up, man. If anything, he should have. His family should learn how to get him to fight. Sorry, sorry. should learn how to get in the fight. Should have put him. I mean, because I'm looking at the age disparity here. Okay, yeah, there was a size disparity that I saw in the photograph, which I'm going to show pretty soon. That I think is in this other article. But there was an apparent size disparity, but you also have an age difference. Even though it's legally it's legal statute, 18 on 21. But I personally would be incensed for one. Well, I'm curious to know. I mean, when his birthday is. Is he a fresh 18 or what? If he's 18, yeah, and I saw that he was a senior this year. Maybe he's a fresh 18. I mean, I don't really want to hang on to that fact that much. And the obvious question that's really lingering for me is how the hell did he get his hands on a gun? And that's for the ATF to follow up, investigate on him anyway, because apparently they're involved with this as well. So it seems to me, in just so far, my read of this is they're trying to somewhat absolve him of any kind of responsibility or reliability. I mean, not reliability, but liability. Not that they're really trying to cover for him, but this is the stage where they're trying to, um, work on his credibility and make it look, you know, like something else. I haven't quite seen the video yet, so when I open it, I think this will be the first time, or it'll be the first time for me to actually see it. Well, why didn't he return a blow? I mean, I don't know. I guess he didn't know how to fight. You got to teach your kids how to fight, man. Got to teach them how to defend themselves. Apparently, there's fear for his life. Yeah, heightened fear for his life. Since his father was beaten to death, definitely heightened Timothy's fear for his life. Not to mention that the young men responsible for beating and harassing him recently made threats to kill him. Let's see if that's been documented somewhere. My son was terrified, believed he'd be murdered just like his father. Um, I believe my son's entire story. Of course, you're his mom, but I believe my son's entire story should be heard. And I'm asking that you help me share it in an effort to balance the one-sided narrative that the media is broadcasting. Please know that I am not suggesting that taking a gun to school was the right choice to make. How did he get it? I'm just saying that there is so much more to the story and all the details should be known. Yeah, okay, I already read that part. Please donate what you can to help me fight for my son's future. We need help to raise money for his defense. Yeah, I guess that 75,000 might have been rather impactful. So let's see what else we could talk about here. And as I'm scrolling out here, it says union leaders call for reforms to thwart campus violence surge. And some people might be seeming to believe or wanting to say that, not to say that this was totally, um, something staged. I'm not suggesting that at all. But I've seen, um, not necessarily reports, but rhetoric surrounding this thing to say that this plays into the agenda, the federal agenda, the government agenda. It having to do with gun control. So within the span of a few days, we were dealing with um, issues with social media, right? We're dealing with situations having to do with you know guns, firearms, and all of this. These two things happen to be within the agenda, government agenda. But I'll wait to talk more on that at some other time, as I'm actually getting ready to load up this other article that I ran across before broadcasting here tonight. But he pulled it from a backpack though, so there was some forethought in him possessing it and actually bringing it to school. Before I really read into the story, I thought that he might have gone out to his car and gotten it, but no, he had it in his backpack, and that's a problem. All right, let me see. Let me run this through real quick because I think. All right, yeah, I see. Hold on a second. Celebrates with his family. Something failed him. Period. Something there's going to be something that shows that something there's a fault somewhere. Um, you know, because it's really bothersome, and I'm trying to you know as now the page isn't loading. Great. Let me see 1 second here because what I'm trying to do is get trying to get the actual video of the incident itself, the precursor to the shooting. But this article seems to show all the celebrating. So let me go into this part. It says, according to Daily Mail from the UK, Arlington school shooter parties at home with family after being freed on $75,000 bond, while his victims remain in the hospital. Gunman, 18, walks free 1 day after shooting 15-year-old quote unquote bully 7 times, and teacher who broke up brawl. So he discharged this gun, this pistol, apparently 7 times. 7. During a fight after drawing it out of a backpack. Not buying it. But then again, they charged him with aggravated assault, not attempted murder. Aggravated assault with a handgun. And let me let the page reload up here in just a second. I was going through. I don't think I need this one anymore, do I? Okay, so only 2 others suffered unspecified injuries, and he was jailed on 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And so apparently he was robbed twice at the school. It says here, according to the family spokesman, the decision he made taking the gun, we're not justifying that. And that was not right, but he was trying to protect himself. Police said a 15-year-old student who was shot remained in critical condition, while a 25-year-old teacher who was shot is in good condition Thursday. What a cluster. Seriously. I mean, really. I was watching it unfold on the news and yesterday, and it was a madhouse, man. Madhouse. Maddening. So while this loads up, let me this is a good time to take a break. So I'll be back in probably at the top of the hour. Be right back. At the top of the hour, I shall return and resume. Everything done froze up, huh? So you're gonna be like that. You're gonna be like that, aren't you? You're gonna be like that to me, aren't you? Great. Well, yeah. Maybe I got too much. It's been a trying day for my technology. I must be having gremlins or something. Don't know. But for some reason, it says the item is missing. That makes a lot of sense. Give me a second. Oh, I must have yeah, I think I got the wrong track. I'll get it right. That's why this is well, it is what it is. Didn't really want this track, but oh well. Be right back. Sounds rather productive, huh? All right, I'll be back in a couple. I'll be back at the top of the hour. Like I said, I'll be back at the top of the hour. All right, I'm back. I'm getting ready to actually see if this works. I'm gonna play this. Let me share my screen first, and because I found the link to the actual video, the fight itself, and I'm gonna see if it'll play through. Give me a little bit. Get rid of this, and also a side note. Bit of a side note. Tomorrow morning, there's going to be a group of those individuals that were in the Moorish militia, otherwise known as Rise of the Moors Group. They are actually making their court appearances tomorrow, and it has changed. It's still in the same Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Um, oh man, middle. My goodness, hold on a second. Yeah, that's what I get for. I just got. I think I just have too much information in my head. I don't really know how these night broadcasts are going to go. But welcome to Nightside anyway. I want to say Middlesex, but yeah, Middlesex County, Massachusetts, and I believe it's 9 o'clock Eastern. When somewhere around that time or at that time when proceedings are going to they'll convene for proceedings. So what I'm attempting to do is share my page, but it keeps getting unloaded. And let me see. Let's work it through anyway. What I want to do is play the video of the fight. It's publicly available here on the media. It is what it is. It's out there. When you put out things out there in the public, it's available for scrutiny. That's how it is. So let's see if, get this up and going on here. Give me a second. All right, here we go. As you can see, a part of the video there on the left screen, and I'm going to click the option to watch the full video. Yeah, you got thrashed a little bit. Okay. Wow. All right. And let me see if I could slave to the circle, as I say, slave to the spool. Loading the way that I want it. No, I did not want to see that. I don't care about the I don't really care about the catch. I'm sorry. But okay, this is the photograph I was speaking about earlier. Now, there in the red circle is the firearm. And it's a recent social media post that was shown. Timothy Simpkins, 18, is shown in this Dodge Charger in a recent social media post. And the right side of his car, what looks like a gun, is visible. And we know the rest. The teenager opened fire. Okay, now he's being classified as a teenager. Page is unresponsive. Yeah, whatever. He's being classified in this as a teenager. Oh, my baby. He's such a baby. By virtue of the fact that he is on, well, I haven't confirmed where this was at, where this is located. Okay, I was going to say, well, it looks like a park, because if you look at right there, that is it looks like a restroom. But let me see if I can play this again. It's being told to stop. Let me rewind it. And I'm speaking from the standpoint of having broken up fights before myself, as well as someone I know that's close and personal to me that has committed to the error of physically attempting to break up a fight between school kids that are seemingly impervious to pain. And you, as an adult, attempting to break them up, well, you're the one that's likely going to get injured. Okay. Let's wait. By the way, the day of this incident, my wife had told me that there was a fight in her classroom, and this is several miles away, unrelated. All right, let me see if we'll let it play through. I'm just going to let it play through, then I'll render a comment after that, whenever it decides it wants to play for me. It's moved up. Well, it was only 21 seconds worth. Here we go. Hello. Hello. All right. Teacher was hollering for help at the time. Let me reloop that again, because I wanted to see. Hello. Hello. Well then, and then a day later, he seemed like he healed up pretty quick, because I'm going to show the photograph of him leaving the jail. All right, so much for that. Let me see what other images I can find here. I don't dare want to open up these 18 photographs, but I suppose I can. It says this video taken moments before the shooting shows Timothy Simpkins, the shooter, being beat up in his classroom by a 15-year-old student. After teachers broke up the fight, after teachers broke up the fight, after teachers broke up the fight, I'm repeating for emphasis here. Timothy went to his backpack and retrieved his gun. He shot the other boy 7 to 8 times, according to the police report. He also shot a teacher in the back and grazed a teenager girl with another bullet before going on the run. Okay. So momentarily they were separated, right? They were separated momentarily. Oh, okay. That must mean I thought there was 18 more pictures of this. Maybe it means 18 and over. I don't know. Let me see if what loads up. Yeah, yeah. There's 19 photographs, 19 images here. So, point being is, whatever time frame there was for some particular duration of time, span of time, they were separated. They were separated for a time, which allowed for him to get his firearm out of his backpack. That is an issue. And if you ask me, he never should have been in the classroom at all. He should not have even been on the school campus at all, because he introduced a deadly weapon despite the threats, despite the previous threats and what he believed and perceived was before him. He should have reported it. Yeah, I know about the snitch culture. This doesn't apply. Let me touch on the snitch culture a little bit. Snitch culture doesn't apply because of this. You are not involved in a criminal enterprise. Unless you're involved in a criminal enterprise and you are informing on somebody, then quite possibly you'll be considered a rat. But if you are just an average, everyday individual in public, average, everyday, ordinary member of the public, as the way that they're trying to portray this young man who is 18 years old and still in high school. I mean, I don't know his date of birth or anything. But he saw fit to bring a gun and to be having a gun in his possession. The reason why I seemingly might appear perturbed about this is because this is the kind of asshole that I could probably see on the public roadways around here. It's because he feels he's slighted or feels threatened from within his car, a late model Dodge Charger, by the way. Just because he may perceive he's being threatened, because he doesn't have the life experience to clearly discern what threatening is. I mean, if he allegedly has done this, let me preface it with that. If he's allegedly done this, so this Yahoo was driving around, because this is a recent social media post, right? He's driving around packing heat at 18 years old in high school. Should I digress? As a concerned father myself, as a concerned member of the public, this is somebody that, well, quite likely anybody can run across if they perceive that they're being victimized. Now, I want you to look at this. Okay. Take a close look. This is the booking photo. And check this out. Look at the caliber weapon this was. 45 caliber, right? 45 caliber handgun. Somebody's got some real explaining to do. Real explaining to do. That's his booking photo. I want you to take notice of this booking photo. And I'm interested to know if he went straight to booking or if he received a hospital clearance prior to booking. Because, well, that's typical protocol. If you sustain any injuries, you require examination before being booked in, especially if you were involved in a fist fight and sustained any injuries of that fist fight. And especially if I were the cop that was transporting this young man to a jail facility, I would be concerned about the presence of injuries as a result of being punched. Most especially in this day and age. So take a look at this photograph right here. I mean, it's just a mugshot, right? Do you see any great bodily injury other than on the right side here, which looks to be a mark of some kind? Yeah, he possibly got stole on right here, as was seen in the video. He got punched in the face. You heard it. So that's likely from the punch in the face or a grazing blow from a 15-year-old. 15. It doesn't look to me that he really got his ass kicked. And that's the thing. That seems to be the mentality of some of our youth nowadays, that we're afraid or they're afraid to take an ass whooping. Okay, here's the lovable photo. Okay, so they're portraying him as snapped, right? I mean, this is the caption right here. Simpkins is shown in another social media photo. His family said he is lovable but snapped after relentless bullying. And I want to point out the violation right here in the window with the license plate being on the dash. It's actually a violation. You are required to have it mounted to your plate or to your bumper. Sorry. That's just a fact. You're required to have it mounted on your front bumper in the state of Texas. That's not mounted. That's just sitting there on the dash. I've said that to say that, well, it's looking to me, again, allegedly, if he allegedly did this, that there's a pattern of a lack of accountability and responsibility, of personal responsibility for himself. Okay, so here are the family members all taken up for him, which is, it's to be expected. Lives with his grandmother in a $400,000 home. $400,000 in this region. So that's a pretty reasonably priced single family home. Grandmother, family spokesperson apparently. Yeah. Relative and family spokesperson, second from the right. And he was being relentlessly bullied, apparently. I don't know if you can read the caption or not. I'm assuming you can. And that they were sorry for the people he hurt, that they are grateful he didn't kill himself after being picked on by bullies. I'm sure glad the innocent classmate, the female that was in there, didn't die from a 45 slug. So here's the neighborhood. And his family claimed he was targeted because he has nice things. Unbelievable. Let me see how this is playing, because I don't have an audience right now, and it's probably safe to say that no one's going to join me, which is fine. But I am going to post this up, and let me turn on the mic for a minute because I want to hear how we go here. All right, so it's loud and clear. It's coming through just fine, just fine. As I'm hanging on this page, and now I'm not being a hater. I am not being a hater, but I am a concerned member of the public. I'm familiar where this is located, very familiar. As a matter of fact, my son participates in a football game tomorrow at a school that's well, the rival to this school tomorrow. Simpkins used to be on the Timberview football team. Here he is clowning again, which is fine. But 18-year-olds are going to do that, right? Hmm. His family have not explained where the quote unquote expensive things they say he was bullied over came from. It's unclear who bought the car or bought his car or if he has a job. Now, it's been stated that his father was killed, last year? I need to go back. I can't recall specifically. But does this look like anybody that's grieving? Got a 3-year old Dodge Charger. Let's look at this right here. Now, the news cast I was watching actually wrongly reported this as a mugshot. Looks to me with the background, the teal background, that this is a driver's license photo. Just a guess. The teenager shown left is okay. No, the caption is from the previous photo. All right. Man, people were really in a rush to get this story out because they misspelled high school. Yep. And here's Timberview. As a matter of fact, I got a little story about Timberview. For a time, I actually worked as a charter motor coach driver, and I think I might have transported a group out of the school before, but I can't specifically recall. It would have been close to about maybe 7 or 8 years ago. But what I do recall more than that was driving around this school. Well, it was closed with school. When was it? I think it was closed. It was closed at the time. I think it was on the weekend. Yeah, it was on a Saturday. The person that convinced me that I should give this place a look to move out here in this region actually took me by this school and a few other places because they actually had at the time they had lived in the area. So among the places they took me was the AT&T Stadium, Rangers ball field or ballpark, among other places, and also this was one of them to show and convey how big the schools were compared to the schools I went to. Pretty substantial size school with a pupil population of 1,600, nearly 2,000 kids. And this is Apparently, images of them celebrating after the getting home. It's being reported that one of the victims that was shot is clinging to life right now. More pictures of celebration after his release from being booked and posting bond. I saw this footage earlier as he was released. Apparently, maybe some security was recruited as well to assist him as he left the facility. Probably bond agents. What doesn't escape me, if he is responsible for doing this, what doesn't escape me is the fact that he actually went, or actually the fight was momentarily broken up, and he went into his backpack, drew a 45 caliber pistol, and shot 6 or 7 times. That's roughly half of a magazine. Half. Not counting the one in the hole. Whether or not he, now this is the thing too that I would actually like to know, and I'm thinking about maybe doing some more posts on this, maybe getting the writ from the court, but or the affidavit anyway. But if there was one in the hole, that means he racked it back, had it racked back and a round chambered ahead of time. That's something to consider. Did he rack around and then start shooting? Or was a round already in the chamber? Because to me, it's clear. It shows what he intended to do. That it wasn't for defense. More photos. Attorney has been apparently hired. It's unclear when he's due in court. He's been charged with 3 counts of assault with a deadly weapon. I thought it was aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. That to wit being a fire. And this is apparently the English teacher, 25-year-old man who had tried to break up the fight. Shot in the back. 45 caliber handgun. How does this keep managing to get worse? Well, yeah, some people have actually had some things to say about it, apparently. Yeah, his sister, okay, the young man I saw, the 25-year-old teacher that was shot in the back, remains in the hospital after trying to break up the fight. On Thursday, his sister tweeted her disgust after Simmons was released on bond. Wow. Man, that's heavy. That's heavy. Man, I'm gonna need to see if I can dig up some more information on this. You know, I hadn't actually realized the caliber, and it's particularly distressing because, for one, what it takes for for me to actually handle a 45 caliber handgun takes some doing, and I'm well over 6 foot, well over 275, 280 pounds, with experience of discharging and managing and handling a firearm of that caliber. And he's 5'9". I'm glad I didn't close it. Let me see if I can read over this, because I just kind of skimmed over it. I wanted to see if there's any particulars on the victim or the other party of the fight. But Simpkins is 5'9", and I figured that said he was 130 pounds. Yeah, let me see it. The page just came up. This is grim, man. I don't like this at all. You know, it's aggravating, to borrow the term. That actually has to be part. That's part of the charge. But this is just, oh, I don't know how it's going to turn out. It's a problem. I'm a little bit, yeah. 5'9", 135 pounds. And yeah, the information about the 15-year-old boy is going to be released because he's a minor, 15 years old, 5'9", 135. And I'm not really meaning to make this personal at all. I'm just sharing my POV. I'm just sharing my perspective on this, my take on this, my slant on this. And it's really skewed right now. Because I'm thinking of other factors that should have mitigated this and alleviated this totally. This didn't need to get this way. It really didn't. Because I fear for the safety of other children. I fear for it. And this young man is going to use this as an excuse that he was bullied. How can you be bullied when you could have left like you did after you shot people? You could have, if they, apparently the reports have indicated, and I believe they got it from the affidavit, because I'm going to follow this up. This is going to be a multi-parter. I feel that. But the teacher apparently had intervened at one point, broke him up. At that time, Simpkins should have left. But instead, allegedly, he reached inside of his backpack and discharged roughly 7 rounds, half of the magazine, roughly. I mean, I believe most 45 calibers carry roughly 12 rounds. Discharged all those rounds in the general direction, because I'm sure he wasn't aiming. Because with the 45, well, I won't even tell you what the result would be with the 45. But this bothers me a lot. I'm actually looking at the picture again of him in his Charger with the gun somewhat readily available. The only saving grace in this, to me, in this one photograph, is that it's not. Let me capture this first, because I want to save this photo for myself. But it's not necessarily in the position where it can be drawn out. I don't think this is a Davy and Goliath story by any stretch of the imagination, by the way. I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see a bullying. I don't see a Davy and Goliath situation with this. I'm not seeing it, y'all. This is not that. I gotta take a break because I'm repulsed by this. Be back. seem like my computer wants to cooperate. It's not multitasking too well. So I'm actually going to have to. Now I'm not going to wrap things up. I'm going to keep going, but there's some things I kind of wanted to do, and it's not doing it. Among which was taking this photograph and actually saving it because I wanted to talk a bit more about it at some point in time later. I'm probably going to go on till I don't know, probably the top of the hour. And well, what is rather distressing to me is this whole thing is less to me about him being a prior victim. What stands out to me more, and also also what stands out to me less is the media characterization that is being suggested is happening. Everyone's innocent till proven guilty. We know this, or at least is what's inferred or what's been expressed. Depending on whether or not it's to be believed. There man, this was just straight cock and mamie bullshit right there. Pardon my language, but I speak plainly. I just be forewarned that I speak plainly, especially on the night side, which is welcome back to the night side. Your host AD that I go by because apparently, well, here we go. Checking the damn playback again. Anyway, where was I? Well, I'm not going to bother bringing up, opening up another tab again with information because apparently it's a struggle. But just so I'm going to go verbal right now and just let you know that, well, excuse me, I'm pretty damn repulsed. Well, not actually right now at this moment, but I'm pretty repulsed. A day removed from the situation at Timberview High School in Southeast Arlington, otherwise known as Mansfield Independent School District, or Arlington, both adjacent to each other. I'm repulsed because of the actions of a young man who saw fit to carry a 45 caliber pistol to school. And what's worse, what is worse in this is that this young man's grandmother and mother let him carry a gun to school. I'm just saying that. I'm just making the assumption. I'm drawing the assumption here that they let this man take this gun to school. He's had it on prior occasions. And this is a family of means because he was, according to the article that I read, he previously attended private school. And I suppose he just couldn't cut it because the kids around him were jealous and haters, believing he had nice things. This presents a bigger problem in my eyes and in my mind. This poses a much larger problem than will ever be revealed. Or actually, partially, it is revealed. I mean, yeah, it's one thing to have your family speaking up for you, but it's another thing to, well, try to place the blame on something else. The media, the school being derelict in their duty of not protecting their cherished son and grandson. You know, I really want to call it out, but I'm just going to abstain from that because the more and more I tend to really think about it and start to think about it, because we don't have all the facts, but still, this when you bring things out to the public, it's ripe for scrutiny and assessment. And as I'm sitting here, and I'm not going to really be much longer because I actually want to do another part to this. I keep thinking about accountability. Somebody in his family has failed him. I know how much a 45 caliber handgun costs in the open market. I know how much those early edition Jordans in some of those photographs cost. My son has a variation of those same shoes and more. Is there anyone jealous of my son because it's perceived that he has nice things? Is there anybody that wants to get after my son because he's a junior on the varsity football team that gone on as a, well, sophomore? You know, as a parent, there's certain things that are inexcusable in your child, in your child's behavior. I'm not saying that you don't get representation for them, but right is right and wrong is wrong. And obviously, the consciousness of the general public has been disrupted by this one event. And there's going to be a lot attached to it for days, weeks, months to come as it carries on through the legal process. I'm still trying to think of a logical explanation as to why anyone would deliberately bring a gun to school. A 45 caliber semi-automatic pistol and discharge it as many times as they did allegedly, according to reports, according to documentation provided. That's public. I didn't see any marks to lead me to believe that there was great bodily injury of any result of him getting punched, bumping into things. The images of the fight in the classroom that I saw, that I observed and sat here and watched. I've seen worse injuries on elementary school kids. This is a guy that's 18 years old that drives a 3-year old Dodge Charger, lives in a $400,000 house, once attended private school, and sees fit to bring a 45 caliber handgun into a classroom, reaches into the backpack after he is momentarily separated from the other half of the fight. And instead of leaving the classroom to distance himself from the fucking problem, he reaches into his backpack and shoots a 15-year-old 7 times. And in the process, a 25-year-old teacher gets wounded, shot in the back, and is possibly in critical condition right now, fighting for his life, while a bystander, a teenage girl, sustains a grace wound. Because he thought he was being threatened and possibly going to be killed after an ass beating in the classroom. Not even an ass beating in the classroom, after a fist fight in a classroom. And his folks are backing it. They're saying he's a great kid. He's an engineer. They're using all the catchwords, catchphrases. The unmitigated gall. I mean, I'm one to support my kid, but I'm not going to support my kid when he's doing dead wrong. But all this is alleged, right? All this is alleged, and it's quite possible that my opinions are fairly strong at this point because I happen to live in the general area where this happened. And I'm questioning myself in my head, is this something that can happen here? Is this something that can happen to my son? Will he end up being possibly under attack by some punk ass that instead doesn't develop the balls to fight back physically and decides to react by using a gun because he's scared? The longer and longer I sit around and let this sink in, the more personally pissed off I get. But who am I other than a concerned parent of a teenager in high school? Who am I other than a retired, some would say washed up, ex first responder, former peace officer who left in good standing, who has received training in active shooter scenarios, who has responded to schools, who has received the training shortly after Columbine, at which time all you did when you responded to a school location is stake up a position, create a perimeter, and stand by for a special weapons and tactics team, otherwise known as SWAT or SRT, Special Resources Team. But no, things changed after Columbine, where those who were working, well, what are called basic beat area cars or basic area allocation cars or basic patrol cars, we were charged with the responsibility of going inside, forming a team, going inside and locating the source of the problem and reacting accordingly by stopping the problem. That's when the term active shooter came up in response to Columbine. And there was subsequent training thereafter. Some would say, well, quasi-military or paramilitary training, where you went in after the shooter. You located the shooter. And as in, other cases since Columbine, the one that stands out, in the one that happened in Florida some years back, where the officers didn't go, or the one school resource officer didn't go inside, didn't form a team, didn't form a plan, and didn't address the problem, which resulted in casualties that didn't need to happen. The only upside to this is this. The only upside being here is, so far, right now, there have been no fatalities. So far, right now. And there's a question of not necessarily when, or not necessarily if, but when this is going to happen again somewhere. And this is also going to be, well, not only a test in the court system, but this is going to be a litmus test for schools everywhere. Because like I said, all the key words are being used. And I'm not saying that whoever is responsible for this, or the person that allegedly did this, is um, you know, not worthy of having any legal representation. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not even touching that. He full well deserves legal representation, and he needs to be proven guilty if that's the case. But I'm tired of these ready-made excuses and not accepting accountability. And in the standpoint of our people, speaking from the standpoint of our people, we have to be accountable for our actions, and this young man needs to be held accountable if he did this. Man, crazy. Absolutely, positively crazy. You know? Wow. All right, on the upside, though, thank you for watching and checking this out. Go ahead and click those links if you would. At least like or dislike. I'm not inviting people to dislike it, but it helps the algorithm anyway, whether or not you like it or dislike it. Share. Let somebody know what you watched or that you watched it. Because I'll even accept if you just come into the room, come to the channel, click like, and bone out. I'll accept that. Because I understand that, I'm new at this, and that, I have to build up a following. And, one of the ways for anyone to possibly build a following is to be a presenter that can offer something tangible to people. I don't believe I necessarily have that yet, but I'm working on it. But in the meantime, in between time, I'm going to support those who do support me, right? Got to support each other in this. And I want to talk up the 100% hemp seed oil offered by More Beauty through the Embassy of the Moors. Bolster your immune system, help alleviate stress. Take in those minerals and vitamins that you really need. Nutrients like vitamin B, omega fatty acids 3, 6, and 9, and many more nutrients. More Beauty now offers hemp seed oil. We all know that health is wealth. We must do all we can to maintain it. More Beauty offers 100% hemp seed oil, a natural option. Hemp seed oil, available from More Beauty. Order yours today from the embassyofthemoors.org. The embassyofthemoors.org. I think I got about a half hour still left in me, so I'm going to hang out for about a half hour and see what's what. I'm going to see. Actually, there's a few other things I had tabbed, or not tabbed, but I had make notations on and was going to talk about. Let me see if I can pull those up and maybe jump on that as well. But I'm going to pull up another musical selection just to let it be known that I am still here on the air. All right, so let me, hopefully this was a good track to pick right here. Yeah, there we go. All right, give me a couple minutes. I'm here in the background, so if you wouldn't mind, let me know that you're here. Drop me a comment in the comment box. In the meantime, I'm going to dig around for a few things to talk about. I hadn't really fully prepared to talk about more than anything than what I kind of just did, and that's going to be another segment. I'm going to actually add on to that. But anyway, let me take a brief moment to get some things together. I'll be back to you in just a moment. right? That's pretty much all the time I needed. I wanted to actually go over some scripture, believe it or not, from the Moorish Holy Quran. And I found something that, well, is possibly something that could be applied in this instance. That would be chapter 2, under the heading Education of Mary and Elizabeth in Zoan, Egypt. And the verse 17, that I actually had highlighted previously before even talking about this. And I don't ordinarily get into the habit of, quoting chapter and verse of some things, but this particular writing, this piece is considered very, very prophetic. It's prophecy. A lot of things in here of relevance, of definite social relevance in how to lead your life, as I'm finding out. So, verse 17 reads as follows: And you must teach your sons and set their souls on fire with love and holy zeal, and make them conscious of the mission to the sons of men. I'll read that again. And you must teach your sons and set their souls on fire with love and holy zeal, and make them conscious of the mission to the sons of men. I don't really see any consciousness in that situation at all. I don't see any of that. That's why I felt that particular passage was appropriate for the subject matter. If it sounds like I'm bothered by this, I am, and I can't imagine uh, anyone that was there and most directly impacted. You know, let's see here. Yeah, I'm just scanning a couple things here. Uh, wow. Yeah, I said I was going to go over a few things here. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. Let's see here. I'm going to take a chance and open this, and hopefully it doesn't shut my whole network down in the process, but we'll wait and see. I'm just trying to see about getting this note here. I already read the that article. Yeah, it says now. I see this. And I know that the loved ones of the suspect involved here were saying to refrain from what the media says or has said or has stated, or how they're trying to categorize this young man. But the headline reads: Arlington shooter pulled gun from backpack after classroom brawl. After being the operative word here, which is to infer and possibly suggest that the situation was momentarily controlled, at which time the gun was drawn and we know what happened. But I also want to go over an article that I located too, is that America is running out of everything. America is running out of everything. The global supply chain is slowing down at the very moment when Americans are demanding that it go into an overdrive. At last count, there were up to upwards of 90, and this I'm actually commenting on this part here. Um, at my last count, there were up to 90 vessels, 90 cargo ships waiting to get into the port of Los Angeles, and this was roughly about 4 or 5 days ago when I saw those images. But it says here there's a demand. Americans are demanding that it go into overdrive. Well, there's a shortage of employees, a shortage of drivers, a shortage of available drivers to pick up these containers, shipping containers, and well, the empty ones are actually filling or have filled and they need longshoremen to clear things up down at these docks, right? But I digress. It says here, according to the Atlantic, is it just me, or does it feel like America is running out of everything? I visited CVS last week to pick up some at home COVID-19 tests. They've been sold out for a week, an employee told me. So I asked about paper towels. We're out of those too. He said, try Walgreens. I drove to a Walgreens that had paper towels, but when I asked a pharmacist to fill some very common prescriptions, he told me the store had run out. Try the Target up the road. Target's pharmacy had the meds, but its front area was alarmingly barren, like a canned food section of a grocery store 1 hour before a hurricane hits landfall or makes landfall. This is the economy now. 1 hour errands are now multi-hour odysseys. Next day deliveries are becoming day after next deliveries. The car part you need, it'll take an extra week. Sorry. The book you were looking for, come back in November. The baby crib you bought, make it December. Eyeing a new home improvement job that requires several construction workers, haha, pray for 2022. The U.S. economy isn't yet experiencing a downturn akin to the 1970s period of stagflation. This is something different and quite strange. Americans are settling into a new phase of the pandemic economy, which is in which GDP is growing, but we're also suffering from a dearth of a shocking array of things: test kits, car parts, semiconductors, ships, shipping containers, workers. This is the everything shortage. The everything shortage is not the result of one big bottleneck, in, say, Vietnamese factories of the American trucking industry. We are running low on supplies of all kinds due to a veritable hydra of bottlenecks. The coronavirus or the coronavirus pandemic has snarled global supply chains in several ways. Pandemic checks sent hundreds of billions of dollars to cabin fevered Americans during a fallow period and in the service sector. And that's true because it's apparent to me that people are behaving like everything's normal and have been throughout each phase of this thing. Opinion. A lot of cash has flowed to hard goods, especially home goods such as furniture and home improvement materials. Let me add to that. Um, Part of my day I spend doing deliveries, and a number of deliveries that I perform happen to involve consumer electronics. Been delivering. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. I've been delivering flat screen televisions. I've been delivering subwoofers. I've been delivering, especially getting close to the end. Actually, the weekend is a big college rivalry football game. Um, it escapes me. Is it the Red River Classic? Yeah, I believe that's what it is. Shows you how much I stay on top of current events, right? So that's going on this weekend. So I anticipate that tomorrow people are going to be making purchases of more of these. If not, they're going to be at this game. So, anywho, it's basically so people. I think partly it's because so people can cope or just ignore what's going on. Don't know. Those same people that have the monies, from the way that I see it, that I've seen it in the deliveries I've made in these areas, they're pretty upscale areas. So these are people that probably likely have food stocked up, etc. and emergency stuff, you know, stacked up, ready to go, for when stuff hits the fan. Um, let's see. Reading onward. A lot of the cash has flowed to hard goods, especially home goods such as furniture and home improvement materials, and I also do deliveries for Home Depot as well. Many of these materials have to be imported from or travel through East Asia. But that region is dealing with the Delta variant, which has been considerably more deadly than previous iterations of the virus. Delta has caused several shutdowns at semiconductor factories across Asia, just as demand for cars and electronics has started to pick up. As a result, these stops along the supply chain are slowing down at the very moment when Americans are demanding that they work in overdrive. Um, Most dramatic expression of this snarl is the purgatory of loaded cargo containers stacked on ships bobbing off the coast of Los Angeles and Long Beach. Just as a normal traffic jam consists of too many drivers trying to use too few lanes rather, the traffic jam at California ports has been exacerbated by extravagant consumer demand slamming into a shortage of trucks, truckers, and port workers. That's what I said at the top. Because ships can't be unloaded, not enough empty containers are in transit to carry all of the stuff that consumers are trying to buy. So the world is getting a lesson on Econ 101. High demand plus limited supply equals prices spiraling to the moon. Before the pandemic, reserving a container that holds roughly 35,000 books cost $2,500. Now it costs $25,000. The container situation is even weirder than it looks. With demand surging in the United States, shipping a parcel from Shanghai to Los Angeles is currently 6 times more expensive than shipping one container from LA to Shanghai. JP Morgan's Michael Symbolist wrote that this has created strong incentives for container owners to ship containers to China, even if they are mostly empty, to expedite the packing and shipping of freights in Shanghai to travel east. When containers leave Los Angeles and Long Beach empty, American made goods that were supposed to be sent across the Pacific Ocean end up sitting around in rail cars parked in West Coast ports. And I'm sure a lot of those are probably going to get burglarized. Yeah, well, if they're rail cars and on the ports, though, so they should be all right. Since the packed rail cars can't unload their goods, they can't go back and collect more stuff from field warehouses in the American interior. Um, those truckers who are needed to drive materials between warehouses, ports, stores, and houses. They're dealing with a multi-dimensional shortage too. Supply chain woes have backed up orders for parts such as resin for roof caps and vinyl for seats. But there's also a crucial lack of people to actually drive the rigs. The Minnesota Trucking Association estimates that the country has a shortage of about 60,000 drivers due to long-time recruitment issues, early retirements, and COVID canceled driving school classes. In short, supply chains and shipping containers, ports, railroads, warehouses, and trucks. Every stage of this international assembly line is breaking down in its own unique way. When the global supply chain works, it's like a beautifully invisible system of dominoes clicking forward. Today on the shambles is a reminder that dominoes can fall backwards too. And there's the labor market. U.S. job openings have hit record highs in restaurants, hotels, and other leisure and hospitality sectors. But companies are struggling to fill these roles and to keep factories and other businesses operating at full capacity when Delta infections roll through. You can see these problems from a variety of angles. From workers' perspective, unemployment insurance and several rounds of stimulus have allowed laid off workers to be picky about jobs instead of desperately lunging for the first paycheck available. That doesn't sound like such a bad thing, but from many employers' perspective, government programs have exacerbated a terrible labor shortage. Staffing of business, Staffing up a business has become difficult. The result from customers' perspective is more of the same everything shortage. Since finding, hiring, and training hundreds of thousands of people in new roles at the same time is hard during a pandemic, we should all expect a bit of slowness across the service sector for a while. Time for that cappuccino, a bit longer of a wait for that appetizer, a bit of confusion at the convenience store when you ask where the nail polish remover is, and the new employee who had to Zoom in her training program needs a moment to remember how. Finally, as if those slowdowns weren't enough, there's the mail. As of this month, the U.S. Postal Service is reducing its use of air transportation to save money. The USPS estimates that deliveries outside your service area will likely be delayed by 1 or 2 days. As we've seen, relying on rail and truck means leaning on systems that are dealing with their own mess. It's not yet up to a recession, but it portends a massively frustrating holiday shopping period. Consider that. I was just thinking about that, especially for households with a habit of buying presents at the last minute. I've been doing this for 43 years and never seen it this bad. Isaac Larian, the founder and CEO of the toy maker MGA Entertainment. That's what he told Bloomberg. Everything that can go wrong is going wrong at the same time. USPS has already announced price hikes for the winter holidays. Avoid paying those surcharges and suffering the Yuletide wrath of disappointed children. The is clear. If you want it by December 25, start placing those orders soon. Everyone complains when stores start playing carols and advertising holiday sales in October. This year, Christmas creep, quote unquote, is your best shopping strategy. Either that or prepare the kids to celebrate Christmas morning sometime in January. How will the everything shortage be resolved? One possibility is that Americans adopt a sustainable, uh, aesthetic, and homespun lifestyle that reduces our dependency on goods that activate the global supply chain. If you can seriously envision a new world, I envy your gift of imagination. That solution to the everything shortage, have a policy to make more of just about everything. Containers which carry more than 90% of the world's traded goods are overwhelmingly manufactured in China. Why doesn't America make more? Car parts, semiconductors, and home goods have been offshored, making the U.S. sorely reliant on overseas factories. Why can't America make more? At home, COVID 19 tests, which could eliminate household infections and prevent community spread, only just authorized by the FDA almost 2 years into this pandemic. Why hasn't America made more? For decades, many U.S. companies moved manufacturing overseas, taking advantage of cheaper labor and cheaper materials across the oceans. In normal times, America benefits from global trade, and the price of offshoring is borne by the unlucky few in deindustrialized regions. But the pandemic and the supply chain breakdowns are a reminder that the decline of manufacturing can be felt more broadly during a crisis when we run out of, well, damn near everything. Joe Biden build back better plan includes billions of dollars to offshore manufacturing, invest in basic research, and beef up domestic supply chains. Manufactured products and containers, part of a broader crisis of manufactured scarcity in America. A protectionist and growth instinct runs government, not only a flat-footed CDC and a tardy FDA, but also sharp restrictions on housing construction, immigration, and the licensing of new professionals and tradespeople. Focusing on the redistribution of income and goods is natural for today's progressives who tend to emphasize the virtue of equality. One lesson of the everything shortage is you cannot redistribute what isn't created in the first place. The best quality agenda begins with an abundance agenda. Crisis is an opportunity to emphasize a new philosophy of what the New York Times Ezra Klein says calls supply side progressivism, which sees value in this across the board abundance. The approach might start by prioritizing policies that reduce the cost of housing and healthcare and reshoring the production of materials that we deem essential to national security during a pandemic and or an unrelated supply chain calamity. Decades from now, we might look at the legacy of the pandemic and see that it took a global crisis of choke points to teach us that real progress begins by removing the choke points at home. And that was from a staff writer at the Atlantic called Derek Thompson. Derek Thompson, staff writer at the Atlantic. And so that's pretty much that. That's pretty much that. We're sunk. I don't know. So yeah, America's running out of everything, and the global supply chain is impacted. I don't know if you've noticed the empty shelves. I don't really go to the store much myself, but last time I was in the store a few days ago, I guess I noticed a market difference. Well, that's going to do it for me for tonight. Just wanted to try something new. This Nightside show. I think I might be doing this, and I appreciate you checking this out. I'd appreciate it even more if you're able to, click and let people know that you were here, like, subscribe, and send me some pocket change if you got it. Well, I know it's really kind of close to the holiday season for some people, so they'll be making purchases, I guess. Anyway, just as a reminder, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I started at the top of the show with that. So let's take care of ourselves, man. Take care of everybody around you that you care about, and just chill, man. That's all I can say. All right. Well, I suppose we're gonna head out of here pretty soon. Once I get my outro music going. Once I get that going, and hopefully, well, be that as it may, since this was Thursday going into Friday, I suppose that as soon as I get the track that I want to play loaded, it's crazy. Tomorrow being Friday, I won't be broadcasting again until Tuesday, so I'm sure that's a relief for some of you. I got a bunch of editing to do, so I might even have to take a little bit of time. Well, no, I'll still be able to broadcast though. Yeah, I believe so. But we'll see you. We'll hopefully, as I always say, I'll see you sooner than later. All right. In the meantime, in between time, enjoy the weekend coming up, and drink your water. All right. Peace, everybody. See you soon.